to the Adventure Podcast. Joining us today is Patrick Koehler. Patrick, originally from Heidelberg, Germany, has been based in Atlanta since 2008. After studying industrial engineering at the Georgia Institute of Technology, he embarked on a career as a lead consultant for multi-million-dollar projects, gaining global experience. Patrick then founded KD Global USA in 2020. Over the past 4 years, he and his team have been providing comprehensive solutions for German brands seeking entry into the U.S. market. So welcome, Patrick, to Adventure.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to be here.
So, okay, I'm going to start you off with the very beginning of your journey. Tell us about your journey from studying industrial engineering to becoming the CEO of KD Global. How did your education and early career experiences shape your entrepreneurial path?
I think it all goes back to really the year 2008, when my dad came home one day and said, "Hey, guys, we have the opportunity to go to the US." And this was actually the second time we moved to the US, because from 93 to 96, we lived once before in the US due to my dad's job. Then we moved back to Germany. I finished high school there. When I still went to high school, it was 13 years. And I finished, it happened to be in the year 2008, finished high school. And then my mom, dad, and brother and I took the trip over the big pond and came here to Atlanta. I had no clue how to go to university because they didn't accredit for the degree I had in Germany. So I had to take the SAT and the ACT.
Oh, sure.
If people want to Google it, you can find plenty of information out on there. And still managed to get into Georgia Tech and studied industrial engineering there, something I've always wanted to study. It's a systematic engineering kind of degree, a lot of data analytics, forecasting, and all of that. And that kind of set my pathway also, I think, later to what I'm doing today with a whole lot of passion. So right after college, I went into manufacturing, optimizing processes on the plant floors, really worked with Fortune 500 companies there. Then I took all of that knowledge and took it a little step further and went from inside of the plant a little bit outside and worked for 7 years as a consultant. I was specialized in ERP implementations for Microsoft. Did that, again, gained a lot of experience. And along that pathway, I always tried to do a little bit entrepreneurial things here and there. Actually, my first startup was Parking Spots in 2016.
Okay.
It never made it past the MVP. It was supposed to be the Airbnb for parking, underutilized driveway space that you can rent out. Living here in Atlanta, it's just super crowded.
It is.
And I thought, oh, what a great idea. And there were some other players in that field too. In hindsight, I think we would have totally gone under in 2020 when no one was out anymore. So it took me all from there into the year 2020, really, when KD Global Distribution came along. I listened to a bunch of podcasts of people trying to expand to the US. And that's when KD Global started. And I'll talk more about that in a second as well.
Well, you seem like the perfect fusion. You have a little bit of a German accent still, and you're wearing the Bass Pro Shop hat. So I would say you're just the epitome of fusion between the US and Germany.
I'm trying to market that a little bit too. Obviously today for the podcast, I'm also wearing my USA shirt.
There you go.
So
Nice.
I love it here. I think I just love America for everything that it is. For this country of freedom, where you can, as a founder, especially compared to Germany, it's very bureaucracy and things like that. Here, as a founder, you have kind of free will. You can set your own path. There's not too many hurdles here and there, and that's what I love. I'm trying to also show that to our customers with KD Global Distribution, where I always tell them, I'm trying to open the doors for you to make way for your own American dream. And we're trying to bring the hurdles just even a little bit lower. Take that maybe scareness away from them and say, hey, you can do it, right? We're the right partner for you. And maybe let's go into a little bit what KD Global Distribution does. So we help international, mainly German companies, because I'm from Germany and know the German culture, enter the US market. And we act as an online reseller slash distributor. Slowly, we're tapping into offline a little bit as well. So we're in contact with Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, all of the big retailers there as well. But mainly, we say, okay, you should start selling on Amazon. That's where a lot of the foot traffic is, right? Get a little bit of brand recognition, because you trying to get into the retailers, you might be a 100-year-old brand in Germany, but no one has ever heard of you here. So they want to see some data on it. So after you have good data on Amazon or your own online store, you can then take this data and present it to them. And now they have actually something to grasp. And just opening those doors for, these international brands experience America, maybe inviting them here, right? We go to expos with you to get a little bit of that experience. Just 3 weeks ago, or maybe 4 weeks ago, I was out west in LA at the Expo West, one of the biggest food expos in the world. We had a customer out there, and one of the founders, he was never in the US. So and then they took a flight from LA to, I think it was Boston, and they had a 5-hour plane flight. So in Germany, in 5 hours, you're somewhere in Turkey or Greece or even further along, right? And
Yeah.
here you're still in the same country. People still speak the same language. And I think that's the entire empowerment of the US. You have 330 million people speak the same language. And for you as a brand, we always say this is the top of, if you make it in the US, your
Mhm.
brand will just expand worldwide, because it's like this pyramid scheme. If you're in the top, it'll radiate worldwide. So especially in the Western world.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned, assisting people kind of overcoming their fear. I just find that really interesting because being from the US and working for a German company,
Mhm.
Germany or German sellers might find it overwhelming to expand to the US just because it is such a massive market, although Germany definitely holds its own. But being from the US and understanding the nuances in Germany, like packaging laws and things that we're not really up against. I think just helping people sort of navigate those differences while they're not insurmountable, just but getting to that comfortable level, where they're like, oh, okay, I know what this is now. I know why this is required and things like that. So I think that's really important, just to kind of overcome those few little hurdles. So
Mhm.
you're not overwhelmed.
Absolutely. And that's why we are a one-stop shop solution. In the core, yes, we're a reseller distributor, and our core competitors, how you say it? Help me out real quick. Core knowledge. Let's just rip
Competition.
it up.
Competency.
Sometimes as a dual
Well,
speaker, you stumble a little bit, but hey, that's what it's all about. So you can see, hey, we're human beings, right? We're going to be working with you together, and there might be some stumbles along the way. So, but to even those out, we have a skill set now acquired where we're one-stop shop solution at our core. We're a warehouse and fulfillment provider. Okay. However, you entering the US market, we also do the product compliance for you. So we check on your products. We check, what about FDA? Is it a food supplement? Is it a dietary supplement? Do you need FDA food facility registration? Are you a medical device? Do you need some registrations there? So we help you along the way, and we have internal experts that can really help you there. So that's just a lot of fun. And once you see the first sale coming in, and then maybe getting into a small mom and pop retail store and just trying to grow, that's going to be the dream. We're now 4 years old, so we're growing. We're not humongous yet, but we're like a boutique consultancy slash warehouse fulfillment provider, where a brand will still feel comfortable working with us. They have the transparency, they get the communication, they have my direct number still. And I think that's what sets us a little bit apart from maybe the bigger old school distributors. We are a new distributor with a little bit of a twist.
Joe, I
So
think you.
specifically on the Amazon side, What
Mhm.
are the big challenges people have when, you'd think it's as easy as translate your listing from German, put it in English, put it up on Amazon, but there's obviously a lot more to it than that. What are the big problems people have when they come to the US from Germany?
Yeah, it already starts at the name of the brand. I mean, Americans need to be able to say the name of the brand. That's kind of where it starts. Then color schemes is also something where we work with. So we're not a marketing agency per se, where we say, "Hey, you have to change the colors," but we work with local marketing agencies where they then give recommendations to our customers and say, "You maybe have to change the packaging here a little bit to make it more American, right? Because a blue and a green might be appearing different to Americans than it might be to Germans. So that's very interesting. If people want to do their own research on it, I highly recommend that as well. And that's kind of where it already starts. Setting it up on Amazon is really not that difficult because as long as you have your ASIN already in the Amazon catalog, you can just place yourself on top of that. You can make country specific pictures as well. So that's all good. I think one bigger hurdle after that is that people come in with the expectation, oh, in Germany, I'm putting up a campaign and it's just running on autopilot. It's not that easy here. You have to bring a little bit more cash than you have in Germany, right? Your CPCs, your cost per clicks are a little higher, and just getting over that hump into that organic kind of growth, I think is a little bit more difficult. What I've seen now and what I've heard from others. I always have the analogy of, when you go on a roller coaster, you kind of have to get to the peak to get that velocity go down with gravity. But getting up there, you need some cash, and it takes a little bit more here than in Germany.
I think that just even bringing up the color scheme, I never would have thought that there would be a
Mhm.
difference geographically. Certain colors must speak to. So, in your experience, what is a powerful color scheme for the U.S. as compared to Germany?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. I think a blue is something that is trustworthy usually. So if you maybe go in the supermarket and you look at specific you know niche products where a blue is kind of trustworthy, green is like luck, and maybe
So
has a different.
friendly and yeah, I
Red is usually more aggressive,
it is.
and I think in the States, I think you even pay a higher insurance if you drive a red car.
Is that true?
I've heard
It's
that as
true.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
they
Yeah,
just know
because
they're
you
gonna drive.
tend to be a more aggressive driver. So I've heard that.
I'll make
Yeah,
a mental note.
yeah.
So regarding the point that you made about, maybe your name is, a too German and you have to switch it. Um, is How do you kind of like toe the line between you guys should change your name and get rid of like the German aspect of it versus like embrace like the German engineering, German quality kind of aspect to the brand?
Yeah.
Where's I figure it's kind of hard to toe the line there, but
That's a very good question. So when we started 4 years ago, I was always under the impression that this slogan "Made in Germany" holds a lot of value, where people say, wow, made in Germany, high quality, etc. Yes, that is true, but I think so more so for the automobile industry, because your Mercedes, your BMWs, your Volkswagen, and your Porsche and Audi, and we have quite a few good cars. That's
you just
totally
named all
true.
the good ones.
I know.
Yes. But now with brands, we have a brand which is 110-year-old bath salt company. Okay, they make bath salts and baby shampoos and all of that. They're in every grocery store in Germany and they have kind of this name which makes it every German knows them, but here no one knows them. So it gets a little bit more tricky there. So from the beginning, you could have said, okay, are you going to maybe do a brand underneath your brand, right? You could do something like, your original brand is maybe brand A, And
Mhm.
now for the US, you maybe want to do brand B and then just buy brand A because you're just going to show it a little smaller. So
Mhm.
you're going to build a brand within your brand. So you don't kind of go away from the root and you can still tell the story of your company as a core. Because if you're a 110-year-old company, you still want to have that history and embrace it. And people find that interesting, right? So you should always have it maybe as a smaller print because people don't know it either way. So
So what I'm hearing is that, if somebody is a seller in Germany and they're big, they have great brand awareness, market leaders, have a lot of shelf space, it's not going to be just, oh, let's move our product to the US and our sales are going to quadruple because of the mass market. It really almost is like a new relaunch.
right, totally new relaunch. So most of our brands start on Amazon because you have the most traffic. Gosh, I don't even know the latest number of Prime users in the US. I think it was something crazy like 180 million. 180 million Prime users of 330 million. And in the 330 million, you still have children that don't even have a Prime account. So what kind of percentage is that already? It's absolutely insane. So you just kind of put the brand there, get some brand recognition, but don't blow all your money there yet. Keep some money, maybe work with some influencers, right? Do some other channels out there. I mean, we still have some other channels where you can sell as well. And then also mom and pop stores, go to expos and things like that. But that multi-channel approach, I think, is really important. And internally, we had that discussion just last week with some of my business partners. We do think as a brand, you should be multifaceted. So you should be on many different marketplaces as well. Just not put it on one, because you know, you guys too, Jeanette and Joseph, you get exposed once, but you need like 10 touch points until you actually buy the product. And maybe you see it over here with an influencer, then you see it on Amazon again, and you see it 10 times. And then at that point, you say, oh, you know what? I've seen it now this often. I'm going to go ahead and buy it. I do think we shouldn't underestimate the influencers, though, down the road. I think, yes, we
Yes,
had that huge
social
wave,
selling is huge right now. That's the
but people
one of
buy from people.
times, yeah, social selling. When you first mentioned kind of mom and pop stores, brick and mortar stores, I kind of was like, really? Are people still doing that? But the more you spoke about it, I could see for a new brand entering a new marketplace. So for a German brand, even if it's well known, such a huge part of being successful in online selling is the trust aspect. And so I think more, even more importantly, for a brand entering the US or entering a new geographic marketplace, having those physical products in brick and mortar retail stores really is just building that brand trust. I mean, it is obviously helping out with your touch points, but I think for, a foreign brand coming into the US, potentially somebody might see it online and be like, I have no idea who they are, what their product actually looks like. So combining sort of that, multi-channel shopping experience along with influencers that are actually using that product probably could go a long way towards that organic ranking, right?
Absolutely. And one thing we also should not underestimate that some products are amazing, right? But just looking at a picture is not going to do it. And maybe looking at one video is not going to do it. But if you have a person explaining the product to you, and in the mom and pop stores, you often have, the store owners, or if the mom and pop stores have 5 to 10 locations, you have like people who are explaining the product to you, who are showing you the product if you have questions on it. And that actually brings me to a point where I still think there's so much potential is Amazon live selling. So Amazon live selling is still not really available in Germany. In the US, it's available. I tell people about it all the time. I think people don't have it on their radar yet. I mean, if you just go on Amazon.com and at the very top, you put live stream on there, right? You get to this new page, landing page, and you're going to be overwhelmed initially because you're going to see bunch of screens pop up, someone is selling live and you don't know where to click on, then you have this, you can browse different categories like home electronics and toys and all of that. I think Amazon still has a little bit of work to do there, but that's still going to be a channel where it has so much potential and kind of does what is being done in China a lot, this live selling, this quick go, and again, people buying from people. I was actually, I think there are already agencies out there that do, or I think I've seen it in China somewhere, where there's a big warehouse, the products are in the warehouse already anyway, and then there are little tiny stations with the light ring and the video camera, and it's almost like in this telephone customer service where people are sitting next to each other, people are just live selling products.
Yeah, I
And
Jeff and I have shared a video of that, just kind of chuckling at how crazy it looked. It looks a little bit dystopian, I think,
yes,
for me.
Yeah.
yes.
But I think it's very effective. I mean, they are selling millions of products that way. So
actually, it's something I have on my to-do list. I think we're going to be moving into a new warehouse in May now. I'm super excited. It's a little bit more modern than where we're now, also bigger as well. So I thought, oh, it would maybe a cool service to, have 5-6 people there run around all day and just do live selling for the brands.
So set up some booths with the right lighting, and you could just. That's very fun.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just something that you said earlier with German brands being on coming into the US, not having the name not really landing. Does that go both ways, like US to Germany? Like obviously something like Levi's or Wrangler will, American Blue Jeans, it's got that factor to it. But if you're like a smaller to mid-sized brand and you're expanding to Germany, would you want to do that same thing of sub brand B to A?
Not necessarily.
Interesting. So the American name would
reasoning
hold
is why
more like
yes
resonance. Okay.
Yeah, holds more resonance. YouTube. I mean, Gen Z, they're watching YouTube. My cousin, Donna. Hi, Donna. If you ever watched this, she loves watching YouTube. When she was 15, 16, watching YouTube and seeing these influencers buy things on Target, and we don't have Target in Germany, right? And I remember I brought her some candy, American candy, Reese's and Oreo cookies. And now we actually have that in Germany. But I brought her that and I had it in a Target plastic bag. And you would never expect someone to be so happy about a Target plastic bag.
He was more excited about the bag than the.
She was so excited about having a Target plastic bag. And I don't know if it's Taylor Swift, her partnership with Target and all of that, right? So the Western world, also Europe, is so influenced by American lifestyle. And it comes back to this pyramid, right? Everything kind of originates here in the US. The biggest brands in the world, they are in the US, despite maybe the car companies and things like that, although that might change now in the future too. Yeah, so it really has that trickle down effect, and people, I can only really speak for Germany, right? And in Europe, people speak English, they grow up with English, so it's totally different. So I don't think you have to change the brand, and it's a lot cooler to be American, right?
I think it's cooler to be German, but I guess we're trendsetters, right, Joe?
I guess so.
First and only time. But that is interesting. I mean, we're going to ask you about really, like as Joe had touched on, it's not just about putting up your listing. It's not a literal translation all the time. There's lots of consumer behavior differences and cultural differences that would, kind of employ you to optimize your listing using those differences, right? So you might need to consult with somebody like yourself.
Also, maybe another impulse here, idea. I spoke with a good friend of mine. He has a film studio in Cleveland, and he actually got yeah? Okay.
Yeah, 50 years I lived in Cleveland.
Check it out, Cheddar Studios. Great guy, Tommy. Tommy Guda. Check him out.
Interesting.
Does great advertisements, video content, and things like that.
I said our world just keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Yes, and he did something for a Swedish brand, I think. And he tried to fill, I think it was the other way around. They hired him to do a video shoot for the Swedish brand to be aired in Sweden. So he had to get people that kind of look Swedish and get furniture that's kind of Swedish to do this video content. But in the flip side of things, if you bring brands from Germany over here, you know, America is very diverse. So you want maybe diverse actors, and you want to make it feel American. I think if you have a chance to make your product feel as American as possible, your brand to feel as American as possible, it's always going to be better. Red Bull, maybe there are people out there that still think it's American. We can do a little quiz here. Haribo, you know Haribo, the gummy bears?
Yes.
German.
Is it American or German?
Ooh.
German.
German.
Oh, he said that with such confidence. I'm sweating because I don't know.
It's a tough one, Joseph. What about Trolley? Trolley, also the sour worms.
Oh, is that how you pronounce it? Trolley?
I'm gonna go American.
It's actually, I think maybe some American investors are on it, but its roots is German. It's technically a German company. And then Stiel, the same, the motor, the sauce, Stiel,
Yeah.
Stiel, the sauce, the orange. You see that, or German. And what else? There's another really good one. Here's the last one. My wife always jokes with me. I always say it wrong. Capri Sun.
Capri Sun.
You know which one I mean? Where you squeeze it out and you put the straw in?
Mm-hmm.
That's German. It's actually from my hometown.
No way.
Really?
Yes.
What's
So
I get a California feeling from that brand.
it's
That's what
not.
I thought it was like Southern California. So these are huge brands, though. Why isn't it more commonplace knowledge that they're German companies? Did they make a concerted effort to not come off as a German company and to be as American as possible?
I think so. I think those are the examples that did it.
They did a great job. I had no idea.
They did it. Yeah, they did it. I can, and then there was a huge uproar in Germany and Capri Sun is a good example. Capri Sun in Germany was still Capri Sonne. Sonne in German is sun. Capri Sonne. And I think 5 years ago or so, they decided worldwide they're going to go Capri Sun. So they changed the German origin of the brand name to the English phrase worldwide. And Germans were saying, how can you do that? But they did it because in 50 years from now, and I like to look far out. I've always done that. I think as a little child, I always told my mom there are going to be cars flying one day and things like that. And we're not too far away, probably.
Nope.
I think in 50 years from now, people are going to travel worldwide. You're going to be in places, and you're going to see brands worldwide. The Earth is going to get smaller and smaller, like you said, Jeanette, right? I think travel is going to become faster. Hopefully it's going to get cheaper again, because right now it's a little bit expensive. But you'll see brands all over the world. Amazon keeps expanding to different countries. Yeah, let's see. I think it's going to be super exciting. I think.
Unfortunately, part of that is, I think, and I feel like I know this just because I work for a German company, but everybody that I work with speaks pretty fluent English. And I know like zero German. So I think, for companies that have these names that maybe even, their origin story is German and their original name is in German, so many more people have access to kind of understanding that brand name in English rather than, the native.
Yeah, that's correct. That's kind of what it is. But hey, 2 words. House is house, mouse is mouse. That's how easy it is.
I'm still trying to learn the German word for squirrel, so don't ask me to say that one yet.
That's a Eichhörnchen. That's harder.
Yeah, what was that?
My dog loves to hunt them. Yes.
Well, let's talk about your role as CEO, though. So,
Yes.
what kind of challenges did you face scaling up? I mean, there obviously are different challenges scaling up a brand than scaling up a business. And is it difficult for you working with, cross cultural communication, all of those things? Let's talk about that a little bit.
I think initially starting any companies is super difficult. I think it's one of the hardest things you can do, putting yourself into that position and just getting the first couple of customers, getting them to trust you, getting to know them to know you, and just scaling up from there. That's probably the most difficult. I think we're in a solid growth now, right? I think we're a little bit over that first step where customer acquisition is a little bit easier. So not necessarily do we have to go out and do big advertisements. Some brands just come to us because they've heard us on one podcast or, through mouth to mouth. I think that's always the best when customers come along that way. And then just also growing the team, learning with the team. We do make mistakes. I think everyone makes mistakes. I wouldn't say we're perfect, but we own up to them and we try to learn from them and continue to improve. Again, my background is in industrial engineering, and as an engineer, I try to improve processes. And when I first started this company too, I was like, well, this is kind of boring, right? Warehousing and fulfillment and all the administrative work, because we also do the taxes and product. We actually insure the products for our brands in the US. So our brands in the US, they don't have to deal with any, admin stuff in the US. It's just a B2B transaction between them and us, and we sell on their behalf. This way they have a huge, advantage of getting fast to the market. I actually do advertisement like this. If your product is US market ready, you can start in as little as 30 days.
Wow.
We start small. Let's ship one pallet, right? To start off, air freight, 4 days, it's here. We are the importer record. Let's get the ball rolling. You learn as you go, right? But of course, the US market readiness, sometimes people already have thought about it. What I said earlier, also maybe talk to marketing agencies about the colors, packaging, and all of that, product compliance. But if not, just the journey makes it super exciting. And I do want to, this boring business, I do want to continue to grow this business and just become a bigger distributor. And then hopefully right now it's still like, okay, we have the contacts to Home Depot and Lowe's and Target, but it's still so difficult to get a product placed. A lot of them say, let's start online or let's do a test store here. We've done that. But getting to that high volume of shipping 5,000 containers per year, that would be a great goal. And looking forward to what's next to come. You can only go step by step as a founder. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't compare yourself too much. I've played also a lot of competition sport when growing up. I played a lot of golf. And I think playing a lot of golf, I was a very good player, but I also compared myself a lot. And that kind of, you lose the focus sometimes. You can only be yourself.
Yeah. I just find that comment really interesting because I'm a really bad golfer, but I still enjoy it. But one of the reasons that I really like it is because I feel like you're competing against yourself. You're not competing against, everybody else out there. You're trying to improve your own game all the time. And I would imagine as a founder and CEO, that's what you're focusing on is how do I improve over what I did yesterday?
Yeah. Do I do it good every day? No. Do I try to improve from a also mental standpoint? Take things not too serious. At the end of the day, it's Scotty Scheffler said it good. He just won the Masters, one of the biggest golf tournaments, right? He said he's wearing now the green jacket. At the end of the day, true, he won 3.6 million, all cool, but that's really not what's gonna give you happiness at the end of the day. You need a different. It's gonna help,
Yeah.
but I do think that the passion behind it and the love and joy what you like to do is almost more important, and then everything else is just a byproduct. So if you have the passion to start your own company, go ahead and do it, right? But don't force yourself into an area which you might not like as much, only because you think it's a trend. And one thing I want to, Jeff Bezos, founder of Amazon.com, right? I just heard this today. He always gets the question, oh, what's going to be the next big thing in like 10 years? Maybe you've heard that, you're nodding. He says, well, that question is good. It's okay. But the more important question is what's still going to be around in 10 years?
Sure.
And that's where I think warehousing and fulfillment is still going to be around in 10 years because products still need to move. And sales, as it stands, is one of the biggest consumer, things out there in the world. People consume, and Americans love to consume and spend more money too. And that's why I think it's good for any brand to come to the US, because there's so much potential here and such a big country, and half of it or even more is not even built out yet.
So I am looking at the clock right now, so I have a couple more just quick questions for you. For anybody
Cool.
that's listening, what do you think, in your opinion, is the main blocker for people that want to expand to the US and just can't seem to pull that trigger? And what advice would you give them?
Well, I think they just don't have the right partners.
Good
Especially
answer.
in Germany, they go to the government-funded offices. I don't want to bash them, but I think sometimes they could do a little bit more, right? They maybe give you a contact here, then you have to talk to a lawyer, then you have to talk to a 3PL, then you have to talk to someone in product compliance, then you have to. So the list goes on and on. Then you sit in front of the list and you're like, wow, it's a little bit much.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a partner like us, right, who can do the hand holding for you and lean you along the way, along the road, and you can start testing this market. Just do it. It's like this, Nike approach. Just do it. And I think Americans, compared to Germans, they just do it, right? They move a little bit faster. By the time the German has planned everything, the opportunity might be gone.
Yeah.
So
And you can learn along the way. So just, put
yes.
your faith in a trusted partner, get it off the ground, and you can learn as you go. You don't have to know every last detail of everything before you get started.
Great analogy. I love it. Is the example of the green banana versus the ripe banana. So Americans love to send a green banana, which is not ripe yet, and then it ripes along the way. Apple does that approach all the time. Tesla does it too. And the Germans, now it's ripe, I'm going to send it. But by the time it gets there, you can't eat it anymore.
That is a great, great analogy. Thank you so much for joining us. I had a blast just listening to you, learning a lot. One final question, since the podcast is called Adventure, we ask everyone, what has been your greatest adventure in life so far?
Greatest adventure in life. Moving to the US and finding my wife here. She's amazing. I love her so much. And if I wouldn't have moved here, I would have not found her. Yeah.
That is the sweetest, most beautiful answer. And we'll have to make sure that we get her the link to this podcast so she knows it's going to be heard by dozens, if not millions of people. Well, thank you so much, Patrick. We'll have your website in our show notes. So if anybody wants more information, I'm sure Patrick seems pretty open. I'm sure you can contact him. And then we'll also have the website. So stay tuned and subscribe to Adventure for more great interviews in the future. Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.